With everything that's been going on in the world, who is ready to raise their vibration? I know I am. Hola my beautiful lotus flowers, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're into nerding out on everything astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation, this is the community for you. Today is all about how to raise your vibration, especially if you're a beginner on your spiritual journey and want to know how to start stepping out of lower frequencies into a higher frequency on a daily basis. This will make a huge difference in your spiritual growth, your emotional growth, everything that has to do with your spiritual journey. I did release a spirituality for beginners video, this one right here, and everything in that video as well will definitely raise your vibration on a daily basis. If you want to go watch that video, if you haven't already, I highly recommend it. We're going to focus on a lot of little things that you can do on a daily basis that are easy to do and make a massive, massive difference over the long term. Without further ado, let's talk about how to raise your vibration for 2021 and beyond.
To infinity and beyond!
The first thing that you can do on a daily basis to raise your vibration is pay attention to the music that you're listening to, especially first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed. Don't get me wrong, I love a little jam session to Cardi B, to Megan Thee Stallion, to some Migos, you know. Like, we all have a part of ourselves that loves that vibe sometimes, that really like boss, really like slightly thoughty. For all my women out there, you know, we have that little part of us that just wants to embrace our sexuality and embrace that boss side of us, that hustle side of us, and that is great. Everything is about balance, and I enjoy that too, don't get me wrong. But right before you go to bed and first thing in the morning are sensitive times for your subconscious. It's a time where your brain truly soaks up so much of the information that you're feeding it. It's in a very fragile, susceptible state. What a lot of people actually don't know is that there are different music frequencies that go into every piece of music that we listen to. And a lot of mainstream music, what you would consider mainstream, actually has certain frequencies that they follow that are addictive or make people act a certain way. And a lot of people don't realize that, but it heavily influences the way that people act, the way they behave. And if you listen to certain music that does this enough, it will transform you on a subconscious level over time. If you're listening to some hardcore heavy metal music, or you're listening to some hardcore rap that talks about nothing but drugs, money, sex, and murder first thing in the morning or right before you go to bed, then you may think it's harmless. You may think that you're getting yourself hyped first thing in the morning. But over the long term, it does a lot of damage. You know, you may wonder why our world is so heavily influenced by egotistical desires and by certain toxic mentalities. And it's largely due to the media that we consume. Music being a part of that media. Music that we mainly consume on a mainstream basis is definitely not built for healing. It's not built for putting us at a higher frequency. It's just not built for that. It's built for, you know, you wanting to do things like drink, take drugs, wanting to do harmful things to each other, and whatever it may be. And like I said, I'm not knocking this type of music. We all have moments where we want to listen to that type of music, me included. I have a Boss Bish playlist on my Spotify, so I totally get it. But I will never listen to music like this first thing in the morning or at night. And I actually don't listen to it on a daily basis. So now on the topic of frequencies and mainstream frequencies, I'm not a professional about this. And there are a lot of different articles and a lot of controversy around which frequencies are good for you and what they do for you. So I'll let you do your own research on that, because I do not want to be giving you any unsolicited advice. I'm not a professional with music at all. So I'll let you do your own research, but there are healing frequencies. There are frequencies that put you in a better mood. All you have to do is do a simple search on YouTube, like healing frequencies, positive frequencies, sleeping frequencies, and you can listen to these frequencies for free on YouTube right when you wake up or before you go to bed at night if you want to. Paying attention to the type of frequency music that you are listening to majority of the time, especially in the morning and at night, is going to heavily shift your subconscious mind and contribute to raising your vibration and helping your spiritual journey that much more in the long term. Second is paying attention to who you listen to first thing in the morning and right before bed. Maybe you're not the type of person that likes to listen to music on your way to work or when you first wake up. Maybe you like listening to podcasts or watching something. Or maybe you're somebody who doesn't really like to chill and listen to music before bed or whatever. You like to watch Netflix. Who you're listening to and what you're watching when you wake up and before you go to bed at night is also highly important. Just like you exchange energy with the frequencies of the music you listen to, you're exchanging energy with the people you listen to, with the podcasts, with the movies you're watching and the shows you're watching. So once again, it's okay. I'm not saying you can't watch like drama-filled reality TV shows. I'm not saying that you can't watch bloody, scary horror films or whatever, you know, but I highly recommend not doing those things right before you go to bed or right when you wake up in the morning. Again, your brain is still in that susceptible state and it's a sponge waiting to soak up whatever you give to it while you're in that state. If it's in the morning time when you're getting ready for work or on your way to work or whatever you're doing in the morning, if you're not a music person, listen to something calming, inspiring, motivating. Maybe you're somebody who likes to be motivated in the morning. Look up inspirational speeches on YouTube or something, or listen to inspirational podcasts, motivational podcasts that will get you going. Or if you're somebody who wakes up with a lot of anxiety, listen to positive podcasts about spiritual practices, spirituality, about transforming yourself in a positive way. Things like this are going to be super powerful in the morning and help set the tone for your day. Just the same as in the evening before you go to bed. If you're somebody who likes to Netflix and chill, watch something that is easygoing on the brain. Don't watch something that is filled with a ton of drama, that is filled with a lot of really intense emotions, because you're going to soak that up before you go to bed and you're going to go to sleep with that bad energy. And a lot of people don't realize that. And again, you think it's harmless, but you don't realize what state your brain is in. That's why it's subconscious. It's something that's happening to your brain on a subconscious level, and you won't realize it. You will just turn into this person and not know how it happened, but that is how it's happening. Third, who you follow on social media and spend your time with greatly influence your vibration. So on social media, we are exposed to so much energy every day, and we may think that we're not because it's over a little electronic screen, but you are absorbing everything you see, especially once again, first thing in the morning and before you go to sleep at night. If you wake up and you immediately look at social media, this can be a really good thing or a bad thing. I know a lot of people talk about not going on social media, period, at all. And you know, for some people, that's just not realistic. You love to go on social media when you wake up. And that doesn't have to be a super bad thing if you're following the right accounts. Follow uplifting accounts, inclusive accounts, accounts that make you feel good when you see them, accounts that don't make you feel bad about yourself, that don't remind you of all the negative things in the world. Follow accounts that remind you of the positive things, because there are so many positive things that happen that we neglect, because as humans, it's in our nature to look for the negative to try and fix it. If things are positive, we don't need to fix it, so we don't tend to pay attention to it. So follow accounts that highlight the positive, that uplift you, that help you with your self-development, with your spiritual journey, that inform you in a positive way, that teach you positive things. And this will make all the difference. Trust me. I have immediately, like the moment that I see something really toxic or negative come up on my feed, I'm like, why am I following this? And I unfollow, because I don't need that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm very susceptible to feeling hurt or feeling upset about what's going on around me, about what I'm seeing on the internet. So I don't want to put myself in that position in the first place, because what's the point? You know, there's no point in it. The point of going on social media should be to make you happy, to entertain you in a happy, positive, uplifting way. And just like you need to curate your social media feed, you also need to pay attention to who's around you in real life. We focus so much on the negative effects of social media these days, and whereas there are a lot, you still need to keep in mind who you're also around. And this is the one that really hurts a lot of people. It's a really sensitive topic because it's like, where is the border between being there for people that we care about, but also looking out for ourselves and being there for ourselves as well? You need to make sure that you're recognizing that line, identifying it, and taking action and actually enforcing that line. If you know being around somebody tends to make you feel bad about yourself, if you know that they're just extremely negative in general and you're not going to walk out of your situation with them feeling good about anything, and it's actually going to lower your vibration, then you have every right not to engage in that situation in the first place. I'm a super family oriented person, and I'm someone who has select people that aren't my family that I really truly care about so deeply. But even though I care about them deeply, that does not mean I am their slave. It does not mean that I owe them all of my energy and owe myself nothing. Just because you love and care about people does not mean that you are their slave. If you're loving this video so far, be sure that you're leaving a comment down below letting me know what you're learning or what you tend to struggle with when it comes to raising your vibration. And be sure that you are liking this video for me and hitting the subscribe button and the bell, because it would mean the world and it helps me so much. Please and thank you. Now let's talk about the food that you consume and how this can lower or raise your vibration. As I mentioned multiple times already, you exchange energy with everything around you, everything that you consume every day, from social media to people you're with to the music you listen to, what you listen to. And the same thing is true with food. There is something called high pranic foods, and you may have heard that before, and low prana foods. And it's actually very straightforward. So if you're not familiar with prana, it's just referring to the sacred life energy that is held within everything. Everything around us has life force energy. And high prana foods are foods that have a lot of positive, sacred life force energy in them. And these are things that are not processed at all, or very, very minimally processed, are seasonal, such as seasonal fresh fruits, seasonal fresh vegetables, because this means that they are straight from the earth, they haven't been messed with, and they have a lot of that natural life force energy within them, and are therefore going to raise our vibration by eating them. However, we also have low prana foods, and these are the highly, highly processed foods, the foods that have gone through a lot since they were harvested from the earth and then made into something that you can consume. And on top of that, that already makes them low prana, but you also don't know what happens in the processing and manufacturing part of its journey to your table. You don't know what workers it's come in contact with or what has happened to it in that journey, and it could have experienced a lot of negative vibrations, and it soaks up that negative life force energy and you end up eating it. The same thing goes for meats, because, and I know there may be some meat lovers watching this, and I'm sorry, but this is just the truth and I'm not being biased, but in order to get meat, you have to kill it. You have to. We don't treat the meat that we eat humanely. We don't kill it humanely. We don't anything. And even if you are treating it humanely throughout its life, when you kill it, it has to be feeling an amount of fear. The thing that you killed, no matter what, if you were living in luxury, say it's you, okay, that's going to be eaten at some point in your life. Say the people or whoever that are going to eat you take care of you your entire life. You live in luxury, they bring everything to you, you wear the best clothes, you get the best medical treatment, everything. But then D-Day comes and you're taken into a butcher shop so they can kill you, and you know that you're in a bad situation and you're about to be killed. No matter how good of a life you've lived, you're going to feel fear, anxiety, and panic, and before they kill you. So you're going to die with those emotions, and animals that you eat are dying with those same fearful, anxious emotions that you would be feeling if you were in that situation. And then you're eating them, but that low life force energy, those negative vibrations are held within that food, because energy does not go anywhere. Energy does not suddenly disappear once you kill something. That animal's energy is still present. And this is scientific. So if this sounds a little bit like over your head, look it up. That negative energy is held within that food, and you are cooking it and eating it and consuming that low energy. But on top of high prana, low prana foods, the way that you yourself make your food also has a big impact on the pranic energy that's present in the food. So if you're in a really bad mood and you're really stressed and anxious about something, and you're vigorously making your food and you are putting all that, you are exchanging energy with the food as you make it, and you're putting all that negative energy into the food, then that energy is going to be amplified because you exchanged it with the food, and then you're going to eat it, and then it's going to be worse. And again, these are not things that you may notice right away, but they're things that make a difference in the long term. 6 is to pay attention to what substances you consume. Substances such as drugs and alcohol can greatly lower our vibration. What it's basically doing is altering your sense of self. It's getting in the way of your physical senses, and therefore getting in the way of your psychic senses as well. And there's a lot of misconception about drug use when it comes to raising your vibration. There's a lot of people who do drugs thinking that it's raising their vibration and increasing their consciousness, whereas there are probably some situations where this could be true. For the most part, it's not going to be true, because a lot of people would not know how to use substances in order to increase their consciousness. And what happens is you're basically trying to take a shortcut to feeling happier, to feeling more spiritual, to connecting to a higher dimension. Whatever your reason is for using alcohol or illegal substances, the end goal is to feel something better than what you currently feel in your current state. It's a distraction, because if you think about it, if you're trying to take these things to feel a certain way that you don't feel in your current state, that defeats the whole purpose of your spiritual journey. Your spiritual journey and growing spiritually is all about embracing who you are, finding the darker parts of yourself, learning how to work with that and intertwine with that, and become a stronger person mentally, spiritually, emotionally, because of doing that inner work and expanding your consciousness from it. But if you're taking substances to try and expand your consciousness or feel like you're on a higher vibration, it's like taking a really unhealthy shortcut. It's kind of like saying that you want to lose weight, but you feel really bad about yourself and you're on this lower vibration. So you take a bunch of really unhealthy diet pills and do a lot of really unhealthy things to try and lose weight, and then you end up in an even worse spot than you started. And you're trying to rely on these unhealthy ways to keep the weight loss on, and you never really truly lost weight. You cheated, so you're going to get it back as soon as you're slipping up even a little bit. Actually, there are a lot of stories about people who are trying to meditate while they're high in some way. And by doing so, they actually have really scary things happen, because they are not in touch with themselves and they are on a lower vibration, whether they realize it or not. So they're attracting lower vibrational energy. So if they try to go into a meditative state and connect to a higher consciousness or have an out-of-body experience, they may be able to do that because of the substance they're using. But what happens is they're attracting bad spirits, they're attracting bad energy, and then they're going to have a really scary out-of-body experience that they cannot control because they are not in tune with themselves at that moment, and it turns into a scary nightmare experience that they don't know how to get out of, and it can scar you, it can cause a lot of trauma. So it's important to be super careful with the substances you're consuming. On that note, with alcohol in general is lower vibration. It won't get you anywhere. It's extremely lower vibrational, and on top of that, you may think that it's only lowering your vibration as you're drinking it, but it actually, the effects can last way longer. The effects will last days after, maybe even weeks after you have consumed the alcohol. So I'm not saying you can never consume alcohol, but it has to be in extreme moderation if you really want to have good spiritual growth, because every time you drink it, it's greatly setting you back on a vibrational level. Last but not least, take a walk outside if possible, or do something to move your body productively. When your body is always stagnant, your energy within the body becomes stagnant, and this connects us back to the idea of chakras, which are the different energy centers in your body. And energy is always supposed to be moving through the chakras, or else there's blockages. Well, if you're always stagnant, if you're not using your body at all, if you're not doing anything to move yourself, then that energy is also becoming stagnant and stuck. And over time, this can lead to even more depression or sadness or insecurity, and therefore lowers your vibration and hinders your spiritual growth. But even more so, the cherry on top is moving your body outside, at least walking in the sun, walking in the grass, walking through the trees. All of these things are some of the best ways to raise your vibration on a daily level. Whenever I'm feeling a little stressed out or anxious, I like to just get up and take a quick walk through some of the trees and the grass out here that I have in my apartment complex, and it makes a huge difference because it's so calming, and you got to be sure that when you do this to be present to everything around you, so that way you're soaking up the moment and soaking up all of the life force energy that's present in everything in nature. But another way to move your body, maybe you can't go outside, maybe it's storming or something, is either exercise or do something productive with your body. So maybe you don't have to have a full-on cleaning session, but do something productive, such as cleaning off a shelf, organizing what you've been putting off. Things like that are going to make a big difference for you mentally, and it's going to get that energy flowing once again. And be sure you're leaving a comment down below if you learned anything from this video or enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts. And please, once again, make sure you're liking, subscribing, and hitting the bell. And you can hop over to the LaBlue Lotus Facebook community if you haven't already, where we talk more about using astrology, spirituality for self-transformation. And if you're interested in seeing even more astrology, spirituality related posts and more of my personal life, head over to Instagram and follow me at Marisa LaBlue. But until I see you next time, watch these videos because they will help you so much. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Adios.